Hey, I'm Alex Ratcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is the upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for the month of October. And if you're like, isn't it October 2nd already? You are not wrong. Today, instead of to back or not to back, we're skipping it this week. Unfortunately, this past week has been absolutely crazy. As at WSBG, well, first we had holidays, and then we had WSBG, and then I visited my family in Toronto for the holidays as well, and then I came back at, 1 a.m., which means this video's late. This video's going up late today, and the reason for that is everything I just told you. So there's no to back or not to back, and also in the upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for the month of October, some of these will be a little sparse on information because I tried to gather as much as I could while also trying not to go to bed at 5 a.m. I went to bed at 4 a.m. Does that count? 4 a.m. is not the worst, right? It's not the worst. Let's go ahead and dive into this, but then, of course, as always, timestamps and links to everything down below, but starting off first as usual with Shelf Clutter. Reminder to go ahead and subscribe to Shelf Clutter if you want information on the upcoming crowdfunding campaigns, because he does this every single week. Every single week on Sunday, you get a full video of the upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for that week, and that's helpful and relevant for a variety of reasons. First of all, I do this once a month, which means I specifically cut out a lot of campaigns so that I'm not talking about 50 campaigns. I try to focus on the biggest and best ones, which means I'm focusing on maybe half of the campaigns that we know about. Secondly is things change every single day. Things change on a regular basis. Campaigns get added, campaigns get shifted around. And so if you want the most up-to-date information, make sure to watch Adam's video that goes up every single week for the upcoming crowdfunding campaigns. And 3 is he does a ton of giveaways. He does a ton of giveaways for these campaigns. So if you're interested in winning a variety of the games that, you're possibly interested in, he does a lot of giveaways. So make sure to subscribe to Shelf Clutter and watch his videos for all of those reasons. But let's go ahead and start off this week with, this month with starting off with 99 Ninja. 99 Ninja, a Micro Dojo game. This is going to be a 2-player head-to-head game, a 1 to 2-player head-to-head game. Well, I guess the 1 player is not really head-to-head. A possibly head-to-head game or possibly solo game as you try to place these these see-through cards down on top of your board in order to surround the samurai or the daimyo. They're trying to surround the daimyo. This game actually has a little app game you can play as well. They'll give you a sense or feel of the game while being a little different at the same time. But 99 Ninja, this is coming to you from the people who brought you Micro Dojo as well. This is launched already because remember I said about how this is for crowdfunding campaigns for the month of October, and we are already a day into October, which means some of these are already up. Then we have over here, we have Paragons Age of Champions. This is a relaunch campaign over on GameFound, bringing you the feel of a TCG in a, non-TCG format. That's going to be Paragons Age of Champions, drafting, deck construction, high fantasy, all of those things. That's Paragons. Then we have over here, we have Merchants of Magic, Dangerous Business, plus Draught of Dragons. These are going to be expansions for Merchants of Magic from Rock Manor Games. Merchants of Magic is a game system in which you're rolling dice and trying to assign those dice to level up the areas of the things you can build. You are a merchant, and you can supply certain things. You can supply the gauntlets of fire and the helmet of enchanting and all those various things. You have a variety of the types of items you can provide and the types of augments you can have to those, and your goal is to become better and better at what you're doing, and this is going to be adding 2 new expansions to that game system. So it's a roll in my game as, rotating items around while you try to build out various things. This is going to add 2 new expansions that offer a lot of new mechanics, new ways to mix up the gameplay experience. That's going to be Merchants of Magic from Rock Manor Games. In general, as I go through these, I'm listing them in rough order of when they appear, but I don't have all the dates up right next to me, so we'll just go through it. We have House of Poison, an epic narrative art book and tabletop game. House of Poison is going to be a game in which you're going to have a bunch of characters who are taking on various secret schemes that they're trying to accomplish. So it's not hidden role, but it's hidden scheme, and so as you try to accomplish these schemes by trying to be mindful of leveling up your opponent's influence over their poison, trying to figure out what the right opportune time to strike is as you try to gather more and more victory points as you accomplish these schemes, or alternatively, try to deduce and stop your opponent's schemes in the game. We have over here, we have Fate, Defenders of Grimheim from Firaxis Games. This is the same creators as Terraforming Mars, obviously, Firaxis Games. This is going to be a 1 to 4 player tower defense game, which you're trying to stop the village from being overrun as you draw various cards representing the various hordes of monsters that are slowly marching their way towards the village. You're going to be trying to use your various characters in the game, whether 1, 2, 3, or 4 characters in the game, while you try to utilize your cards, your abilities, all the various things. You try to level up your characters so you can take down more and more enemies as you gain experience from each enemy you kill, and as you level up further and further, while the hordes get stronger and stronger, slowly marching their way towards the village. That's going to be Fate, Defenders of Grimheim from Firaxis Games. We have Gnomes and Wizards. This is a relaunch campaign. This is going to be a battle royale experience. Gnomes and Wizards are going to have teams of gnomes as well as teams of wizards facing off on the board as the map slowly closes down around them. You're going to be trying to recruit various characters into your factions. So you have the board, you're trying to march around the board, you're trying to recruit new people into the factions so you can have more and more of your teammates on the board, each of them bringing their asymmetric abilities into play as you gather and collect more crystals to power those asymmetric abilities as well as the various cards you're going to add to your tableau. So lots of powers and abilities and a whole bunch of different teams in Gnomes and Wizards, a battle royale game. We have Win or Die. Win or Die is coming to you from it's a tactical multiplayer strategy game, which is going to be similar to Stratego in the sense that you're trying to guess your opponent's stances. This actually, I don't know if you've ever played it, but there's a game called Confusion and Espionage: Deception in the Cold War, which is a good reminder that the Stratego mechanic can be applied in the game system in a way that really does work. Win or Die, I haven't played this one yet, but you're going to be engaging in battles while you try to, again, engage with that Stratego mechanic while trying to figure out where your opponent has hidden the various forces as you take them out. That's going to be Win or Die. Then we have the Night Cage, Shrieking Hollow, an expansion to the Night Cage. The Night Cage is going to be from Smirk and Dagger Games, which is going to have you wandering around the board, trying to desperately stay alive, trying to not lose too much touch with the light as monsters try to hunt you down and capture you. Shrieking Hollow is going to be adding more content to that game, so if you're a fan of the Night Cage, this is where you want to go ahead and follow. Then we have Legends of Sigmund Warseer. Legends of Sigmund is a game system. They've done a bunch of crowdfunding games, very often miniature-based, very often skirmish-based. I don't know the difference of Legend of Sigmund Warseer, what they're bringing to the table. It's going to be more miniatures, more maps, more boards, hexagon grid, combat mechanics, economy, all of those things. But again, I don't have a firm handle of how this one actually plays or how it's different than previous games in the Legend of Sigmund universe, but they have a bunch of fun miniatures and all that stuff. Plus, of course, gameplay you should probably pay attention to as well. Then we have Moonstone Fantasy Skirmish Game, Shades of Moonreach. It's going to be bringing back more Moonstone, which is a 2-player head-to-head skirmish game, and it's coming back with a new expansion content and brand new faction. Then we have over here, we have Erune Light and Darkness. This is an expansion to Erune. Erune is a dungeon crawler. That's an app-driven dungeon crawler from Arcada Studio, and the game is going to have you, the game generally has a Master of Shadows and a bunch of players trying to face off against each other, and the Light and Darkness expansion is going to be bringing more content, more scenarios, more characters to play as. It's going to be adding more nuance and depth to the Master of Shadows. Previously, the Master of Shadows had less control over a lot of things. A lot of the stuff were controlled by the game, and they had minimal agency over things, and they have more agency now in this system, in this head-to-head system, as you wander through a progressive dungeon trying to figure out who's going to win in this fail-forward aspect. Because of the fact that it's not cooperative, it is fail-forward, so the game moves forward, the characters level up, regardless of which side won, as you go through a sequence of scenarios in Erune Light and Darkness. Then we have the Davy Jones' Locker, Curse of the Ghost Ships. This is an expansion to Davy Jones' Locker, which is a cooperative experience that takes place in 2 phases, as you try to figure out how to stay alive or level up, all while dealing with the fact that the Kraken is eventually going to show up. The Curse of the Ghost Ships expansion is going to be adding more content to this experience, to this cooperative Davy Jones' Locker experience, coming October 10th. Then we have Flame and Fang, coming October 11th from Escape Velocity Games. Flame and Fang is going to have you going through a sequence of scenarios as you control a bunch of dragons. You are controlling the dragons in this game as you take on the scenarios, which are going to have you engaging with various enemies or bosses or goals along the way, gathering resources, leveling up your dragons. It's a sort of deck construction. I mean, it's not really deck building, but you're going to have the opportunity to buy cards, replace them with cards in your deck as you go through a sequence of goals, eventually taking down the boss, and then resetting, adding some new components, some new ongoing level up and permanent upgrades to your character as you go through these scenarios, but often resetting a bunch of things you've done so you can continue to start again, redevelop, and rebuild as you take on increasingly more difficult scenarios in Flame and Fang, a 1-to-4 player cooperative experience. I think it's 1-to-4. I'm pretty sure it's 1-to-4. It's definitely 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I'm pretty sure it's not 5. Then we have over here, we have Cascadero and Cascadito, plus a Zuvadis reprint. It's coming to you from Bitewing Games. They're bringing to you 2 new Reina Knizia titles, which has me very intrigued because looking at the board over here, this feels like these are going to be lying in their in Reina Knizia's tile-laying system. Games like, Tigris and Euphrates, or any of the variety of offshoots, or Samurai. Reina Knizia has done a variety of tile-laying games that are absolutely fantastic. The art looks great here, the production looks great, the board looks great from what little I can see over here. I don't know anything about the actual gameplay on these 2 games, but I am very intrigued, both because Bitewing Games in general, they put out Trailblazers, which I love, they put out Zuvadis, which I read the rulebook to, but haven't yet played. But I'm very interested in Cascadero and Cascadita from Bitewing Games. Definitely one of my more interested picks from the month. Then we have over here, we have Villagers of the Oak Dell plus Roll and Write. This is going to be bringing you a game for the designer of Terracotta Army, I believe it's a print and play Roll and Write. I'm not certain if it's print and play or not. More often than not, roll and writes these days are print and play, but maybe it's a full-on roll and write. I hope it's a full-on one, because I like roll and writes, but I actually like having physical games. But either way, Villagers of the Oak Dell, it's a roll and write game. It's either print and play or not certain. We'll see soon enough. But from the designer of Terracotta Army, which has me intrigued from that alone. Then we have Marvel Dice Throne X-Men. I don't have a link to anything, unfortunately, so we just have Marvel Dice Throne X-Men over here. But basically, Roxley is bringing you more Marvel dice thrown to your table, this time with X-Men, which is going to bring you a bunch of new characters, as well as a new way to play the game cooperatively as well. So you can go ahead and dive into Dice Throne Missions, which is going to give you if you did or didn't like Dice Throne Adventures, Dice Throne Missions gives you a new way to engage with that experience. So if you're interested in that, that's going to be coming, I believe, October 17th, I want to say October 17th, but Marvel Dice Throne X-Men is going to be coming to Kickstarter. Then we have Fall of Lumen over here. This Fall of Lumen, we talked about this last month, but you know they pushed it off. But this is going to be the Fall of Lumen from Toroid Games. They have their previous game, Legends of something, I want to say Legends of Void. But Fall of Lumen is going to be bringing you more gameplay experience in deck building, area movement games set in the same system, set in the same world as Legends of Void. Then we have the Morrison Game Factory. This is coming to you from Post Curious. Post Curious have done a bunch of things, but for me, most notably, the Emerald Flame, which is a fantastic escape room game. And to that end, anything they put out is on my radar just from that alone. And the Morrison Game Factory plus Puzzle Tale, or a Puzzle Tale, they are putting out that, which invites you to unravel its secrets in the Morrison Game Factory. Has me intrigued just because it's Post Curious. And again, the one game I've played from them has been amazing, and I've heard great things about their other games that they have. Then we have the Gilded Realms. The Gilded Realms is previously known as Antares Kingdoms from Sandtime Games. The Gilded Realms are going to have players trying to build up more and more impressive civilizations across a variety, I think 12 turns, 12 eras or whatnot, as you progressively get more powerful or better in the systems that you're building up, while managing events, while managing, your decks, while managing a whole bunch of things in the game system. That's going to be the Gilded Realms, coming to you, I believe, October 17th as well, but could be wrong about the rough date. Then we have Nocturne. Nocturne from Flatout Games. This is another one launching shortly. And again, I don't have a Kickstarter page for this one, but Flatout Games famous for Cascadia, for Calico, for Verdant, for Fit to Print, a whole bunch of games they've put out. And now they're putting out Nocturne, which is going to continue their point scoring system that's going to have you trying to manage a bunch of ways to score points in this game, but it's going to be giving you the bidding system of Metropolis, which is going to have you trying to be managing how you place your tokens and outbid your opponents in this game while trying to cast your spells effectively. Your tokens are your spells. Whole bunch of things going on here. I will have coverage of this one as well, so you can check this one out, but it's going to be Nocturne from Flatout Games, another point scoring optimization games in their line of games. Then we have The Molly House, a game of queer joy and betrayal in 18th century London from Whirliga Games. This is going to be a somewhat hidden role game which players are trying to figure out. Well, basically, I don't even know how to describe this fully, but you're going to be taking on the role of various gender-defying Mollys of the early 18th century London. And you're going to be going through a bunch of ways to try to score points, but there's a degree of hidden role there, as your hand of cards represents, the various things. It follows a novel twist in traditional secret role games, where a player's identity is as fluid as the cards in their hand. A very fascinating theme, combined with the heavy gameplay of Whirliga Games. They've brought you, what else have they brought you? They brought you Paxmere and John Company, as well as a bunch of other games. So very intrigued by this one. It's going to be launching on BackerKit October 17th. Then we have over here Secrets of the Lost Tome Epic Edition plus 10-year anniversary. This is going to be a 10-year anniversary from Everything Epic of Secrets of the Lost Tome, which is a dungeon crawler game, a cooperative dungeon crawler they have, and it's bringing you, the 10-year anniversary edition of the game with all kinds of fun things to the game, expansion stuff, and characters, and just dungeon crawling stuff, and Secrets of the Lost Tome, and all the various, just dungeon crawl. It's a dungeon crawl with a whole bunch of content and new updated art and production and all that coming to you from Everything Epic on October 17th. Then we have over here, we have DeepSix, a game of galactic mayhem. Again, I believe we talked about this last month, but it was pushed off. But it's going to be a game which you're trying to take control of the board. The board is going to be a little grid of cards. You're trying to take control of your areas while playing with your leaders, trying to recruit various characters, and trying to tactically outpace self in what is a abstract game to an extent with a degree of characters and theme and other elements as well. So a mix of different gameplay mechanics altogether, and DeepSix coming to you October 17th. Then we have over here, we have Ezra and Nehemiah. Ezra and Nehemiah, coming to you from Shem Phillips. And I will say, by the way, completely random side point, but I just played Wayfarers of the South Tigris from Shem Phillips, and from Garfield Games, and I loved it. That was absolutely fantastic, which is great because, so far for me, the only Garfield game system that I've loved was Hadrian's Wall, which isn't in their core line of games, and all the others I've been okay with, but not loved quite as much, but I very much did love A Way for the South Tigris, which is a random tangent just based on the fact that I played it like 3 days ago, and so I'm still excited about it. But either way, Ezra and Nehemiah is going to be a temple building game. Build the walls and temples across 3 rounds, 3 weeks, having a day of rest, the Shabbat at the end of every single week. Fascinating theme. I'm very excited for this one, very intrigued by this one. No differently than Golem before it. As a religiously observant person, I do find religious themes compelling to a degree, but I also am ultimately a gamer first and foremost in that category, and so I'm not interested in just for the theme alone. I want great games that have those themes, which they're harder to find, unfortunately. So for me, Gollum is one that I very much enjoyed because it's a great game with a theme that I resonate with. And Ezra and Nehemiah, very intrigued by this one. Hope I enjoy this one. We'll see. Wayfarers gives me more hope for this one, but we'll see. Ultimately, time will tell. But it's going to be launching, I believe, October 17th as well. Then we have over here, we have City of Myrkesh. This one, I don't have a lot of information. It's launching October 24th. You know, travel the board, recruit allies, deck building, all that stuff. I believe it's deck building. Maybe I'm wrong. Deck build. Yes, a deck build as well. But yeah, there's going to be City of Myrkesh. I just don't have a lot of information on this one past launching October 24th. Then we have Keep the Heroes Out. Keep the Heroes Out is going to be an expansion to Keep the Heroes Out, a game system in which you are playing as the various monsters as you deck build in this game, trying to make sure you can defeat. You're playing as the monsters, trying to defeat the various heroes who are entering your dungeon. That's going to be Keep the Heroes Out from Louisborough, and it's going to be bringing you the reprint of the game as well as an expansion and boss battles to the cooperative experience that this game is. Then we have Critter Kitchen. Critter Kitchen from Cardboard Alchemy is going to be launching as well, giving you trying to have you gather various food in order to meet a variety of challenges across 6 rounds of play, and then finally serving up the final food critic across the 7th round of play. Critter Kitchen has you trying to gather things, prepare, utilize abilities. It's a whole bunch of secret bidding, effectively. You're secretly bidding where your characters are going to go to gather the various food they need to optimize your score in the game. A very fun, somewhat fast-paced game. Plays 1 to 5 players. I believe have not played the solo mode, so I can't speak to that. But 1 to 5 player game of gathering ingredients, accomplishing challenges, and serving a food critic across 7 rounds of play. Then we're going to have Sea Cove Games Carolingi. Carolingi is going to be giving you a game of taking on the roles of the grandchildren of Charlemagne as you try to spread your influence across Europe, as you try to put down riots, stop the rebel uprisings, try to get a foothold in the game as you clash with your various cousins, or I guess cousins, probably cousins, right? Not siblings. If you're grandchildren, it's cousins. But either way, there's going to be a competitive version of the game, a semi-cooperative version of the game. This is going to take place, well, it depends on the game time, because you could play it for 4 or 5 rounds, but you can also extend the game time as well, or you can alternatively vie for peace in the game as you accomplish various actions, every round planning your actions, putting them into a bag, and having them pulled out, being mindful of the timing of your actions while not being able to perfectly control when things will happen, but having some degree of predictiveness as far as trying to wait out your opponents or to utilize your various courtiers to be able to put them into the various categories. You have nobles, you have courtiers, and you have messengers or messy or whatnot that are going to go across to the various regions of the board trying to spread your influence in different ways as you gather taxes from the various opponents. So ultimately some degree of area control, some degree of political navigation, some degree of bag building to an extent, but not really, more action building. Either way, that's going to be Carolingi from Sea Cove Games. Then we have over here, we have Through the Desert, as well as Through the Desert, A Message in the Stars, and Switchbacks. It's going to be the newest game, the newest crowdfunding campaign from Board Game Tables, now currently known as All Play, bringing you a reprint of Through the Desert. So we have more Erune stuff coming back to the table, as well as Switchbacks and Messages from the Stars. A bunch of the games in there, they put out regular crowdfunding campaigns with reprint campaigns or campaigns that they can bring back, foreign games and brand them and publish them and all that stuff. But A Message from the Stars, Switchbacks, and Through the Desert coming to you from All Play late October. Then we have The Old King's Crown, coming October 24th, The Old King's Crown, a tale of royalty, rebels, and ruses. Again, one I don't have a ton of information on. I can tell you the artwork looks great, and the strategic board game for 1 to 4 players, an empty throne, crumbling kingdom, and heirs that would claim it. What crown will you wear? Don't have a ton of information on the actual gameplay itself, past saying the art and characters look fun, and I'm intrigued by the actual gameplay from Eerie Idle Games. Then we have over here, we have Ynaros Fallin, Roam Magic Lands, and Raise Your Shadow. This is a reprint campaign, or relaunch campaign. Ynaros Fallin, they launched previously, maybe early in the year or last year. They unfortunately did not fund, but they made some tweaks, some changes, and they're coming back to you to crowdfunding live on Kickstarter, the October 24th. Explore the land of cantrips, masks, and magic discovery. Then we have DreamEscape Games, Dreamscape from Bad Cat Games. This is a solo RPG with Cthulhu elements to it. It's going to be a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure in the Cthulhu universe. That's going to be Dreamscape, launching October 24th. That's a good time for my light to blink. It's not at all creepy in any way, shape, or form. That's going to be Dreamscape from Bad Cat Games. Then we have over here, we have Wondrous Creatures, coming to you from Bad Comic Games, who've been getting a lot of praise recently for Life of the Amazonia. Is that the one that I think Life of the Amazonia is getting a lot of praise? But Wondrous Creatures from, a worker placement mechanism, fantastic creatures, magnetic meeples, wondrous combos. Intrigued by this one. I very much want to try Life of the Amazonia. I've heard a lot of good things about that one, and so that alone has me interested in Wondrous Creatures. And then we have over here, we have FormulaGP coming on GameFound. Again, this one that was launching last month got pushed off. It's going to be a racing game for 1 to 6 players. Not Formula D, but FormulaGP. Slightly different racing game coming on GameFound late October 24th it looks like. And then lastly, we have over here Calimala. I believe this is still launching in October. This is coming to you from Alley Cat Games, designed by Fabio Lopiano, art by Ian O'Toole. Calimala is going to be a Euro game. Don't have a ton of information past that about the gameplay itself, but that is going to be Calimala, launching late October on, well, I don't actually know. I assume Kickstarter, but I'm not certain. And with that, as far as the picks of the month, I'm just going to pick a few games that I am more interested in than others. And to that end, we're going to have a few over here. I'm going to go in reverse order. We have Critter Kitchen. Definitely very interested in this one. I've had a chance to play this one a few times now and really enjoy it. Really enjoy that one. We also have Ezra and Nehemiah. Definitely one that I'm more interested in this one. Just again, theme alone plus the Euro goodness of of Shem Phillips of Garfield Games. We also have Nocturne. One that I definitely enjoyed as well. We'll have coverage on that one, so you can check that out as well. We have Marvel Dice Throne, very much interested, or Dice Throne X-Men, interested in that because of the missions gameplay, more so than the new characters. We have Cascadero and Cascadito. Again, just the tile-laying game for Inaknitsia with the production from Bitewing Games definitely has me very interested and very much paying attention. And then we have maybe one more. We have, no, I don't know, maybe not. I thought we had one more. There was one more that I thought I wanted to talk about, but I guess not, so we're just going to go with those four, and that is going to be that. Which means that is everything we have for the month of October. As usual, make sure to subscribe to Shelf Clutter if you want more information, more up-to-date information, because, well, he'll have that for you. But until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Let me know which games in October you're most excited about, if anything at all, or are you just done with crowdfunding for this month, or forever, who really knows? Let me know in the comments down below. But until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe, and I hope you have a good one.